I'll echo the sentiment we've heard from many. It's great to be here at the OIS. What a wonderful meeting it's been so far, and a great agenda still to come. The only thing that would be better, Craig, is if we can get that music to play every time I come home from work. My kids would think I'm actually cool. So we'll talk about that afterwards. But right now we'll talk about something that is really compelling in the sense that we've talked all about the front of the eye, and the best way to protect the front of the eye is with a healthy eyelid. And that's why we're revolutionizing treatment for the eyelid. Our legal disclaimer around forward-looking statements. And with that, I share our vision of wanting to be a leading eye care pharma company by delivering impactful therapeutics for very important diseases. And that work starts with TP-03, the first potential product to treat Demodex blepharitis, one of the most ubiquitous diseases we see in the eye care clinic. TP-03 is a novel therapeutic designed specifically to treat the underlying cause of Demodex blepharitis. The active compound, lotilaner, is targeted to kill the mites that are at the root cause of this disease. We formulated this in a twice-a-day eye drop that's taken for 6 weeks, and it has been shown in clinical studies to cure the collarettes, the debris, improve the redness, as well as, of course, eradicate the mites, and doing so in a safe and well-tolerated formula. It's important because this disease affects 25 million Americans, many of whom are already in the eye care clinic seeking relief. This includes 1.5 million patients who are already diagnosed who don't have a good solution today because there's nothing approved. It also includes patients that are some of the most commonly seen patients in the eye care clinic, those that are on dry eye therapy, those presenting for cataract surgery, and those that have a hard time staying in their contact lenses. All of these patients present a high prevalence of Demodex blepharitis and could potentially benefit from our therapeutic. What do these patients experience? 80% of these patients say the disease affects them negatively on a daily basis. The redness, the irritation, and the debris. And I highlight the debris because that's one of the most important parts of this disease. The collarettes, that's that waxy cylindrical dandruff that builds on the base of the lash. It is a telltale sign of the disease because it's the waste material of the mite. So the only way you have that debris is if you have mites. It's also how clinicians can easily diagnose these patients. Every eye care provider can do this because all you need is a slit lamp. Ask the patient to look down, visualize that upper lid, and if you see collarettes, you can make a confident diagnosis that patient has Demodex blepharitis. It's also the primary endpoint in our clinical studies. When we look forward at TP-03, we see the potential for a standard of care for this disease. We recently submitted our NDA, and we have a PDUFA date of August of 2023. I guess it's going to be a busy summer at the FDA Ophthalmic Review Division, but we're looking forward to that. And we've been able to show this across 2 clinical studies of over 800 patients, again, where we looked at collarettes, mites, and redness. We saw cure rates as well as high responder rates. And again, very well safe and very well tolerated. A closer look at the data. You can see strong and consistent results across both those studies. It's rare in medicine and extremely rare in eye care that you have a therapeutic that not only helps patients, but actually gets the root cause and provides a cure. In half the patients, we see complete resolution of the disease. In 85% of patients, we actually see a clinically meaningful response, meaning that patient would present, the physician would consider them to be clinically not have disease from a clinical perspective. So these patients are essentially cured. I can talk about it, but the visuals are really what tell the story. Here you can see patients before and after treatment. You can see the dense, diffuse collarettes and redness prior to treatment. And you can see after 6 weeks of dosing, the patients are presenting with a clean, healthy lid. It's also very compelling when you look at the erythema, the lid redness. This is something we haven't seen in any therapeutics yet, where patients can take a drug that's not an anti-inflammatory, in fact, and can see improvements and cures in redness in just 6 weeks. We're excited about bringing this product to market. We've already begun our work to educate and build awareness. We recently launched the first of its kind campaign called Look at the Lids. As the campaign implies, we're simply asking physicians to look their patients in the eyelids. We're reminding them of the prevalence of the disease, the impact it has on their patients, and how easy and simple it is to make this diagnosis. We've gotten a great response so far, and we're complementing that effort with deep scientific exchange through our medical ambassadors. I mentioned this yesterday. Companies hire MSLs. We actually hired medical ambassadors, and the difference is all of our field medical team are trained optometrists. They come to the table with a different level of knowledge, credibility, and the ability to have this really deep scientific exchange as we progress towards commercialization. We're also starting our work with the payers, because once this product is available, we want to ensure that it's also accessible and affordable to the patients that need it. And we'll continue to do that work over the next several months because we know this market is primed for activation. The market's ready for a solution for Demodex blepharitis. The 25 million patients, 7 million of whom are in the clinic today looking for a solution, the physicians are already showing a high degree of excitement and enthusiasm. They're looking for these patients. They're waiting for a treatment. The visuals are very compelling. You're going to see lots of lid images over the next year because it's a way to get the message across to the physician, but also a way to educate the patients. And lastly, in those exchanges we're having with the payer, we feel really confident in our position because the payers are telling us, you have a drug that gets to the root cause. It cures the patient, and you have a high responder rate, meaning if we reimburse this drug, we know the patient's going to benefit. And that's a great place to be when we're going to those payer discussions. So we're excited about the future. We look forward to sharing more updates. And hopefully by this time next year, if there's an OAS meeting, we'll come back sharing stories of how we're able to help many of these patients already. So thank you.